Vienna does not rush. It does not try to impress. It does not compete for attention or demand admiration. Vienna simply exists, calmly, confidently, like a person who has already understood who they are. When you enter this city, it feels as if you step into a space where everything is already in its place. There is nothing to prove here, nothing to chase, nothing to catch up with. Vienna does not ask for your energy. It invites your presence. The streets do not shout. The buildings do not argue with each other. Even silence feels like part of the architecture. This is a city where order does not press on you. It supports you. It gives you a sense of inner stability. After Berlin, which teaches strength through structure, and after Prague, which teaches flow and breathing, Vienna arrives as balance. As a point of harmony, you begin to notice your breath becoming deeper, your steps becoming slower, your gaze becoming softer. Vienna does not drain you. It gathers you. Every stone here remembers music. Every facade understands harmony. Every courtyard carries a feeling of completion. This is a city where beauty is not displayed. It is not shown. It simply exists. You walk through these streets and realize that greatness can be quiet. That strength does not need to be aggressive. That confidence does not need to explain itself. Vienna is respect for form, for space, for time. Here, the past does not fight with the present. They walk together, calmly, like two old friends who settled everything long ago. And in this moment, you begin to feel something different. You are not a tourist. You are not an observer. You are a participant. The city is not presenting itself to you. It is allowing you to be inside it. And perhaps, for the first time in a long while, you stop searching and begin simply to be. Because Vienna is not a city of movement. It is a city of state, a city of inner alignment. And if you are ready to slow down, it will open itself to you completely. Vienna reveals itself slowly, not through spectacle, but through details. In the way light rests on stone. In the way shadows move across quiet courtyards. In the way a simple street can feel like a carefully composed piece of music. This city was not built to rush people forward. It was built to let them arrive. Here, movement feels intentional. Every step carries weight. Every pause has meaning. You begin to understand that Vienna does not entertain. It educates the senses. It teaches patience. It teaches appreciation. It teaches you to notice what usually disappears in noise and speed. In Vienna, beauty does not shout for recognition. It waits for attention. And when you finally see it, it feels personal, as if it was meant only for you. The rhythm of this city is not external. It becomes internal. Your thoughts slow down. Your perception sharpens. You stop thinking about where you are going, and start feeling where you are. Vienna has a rare ability to make you present without effort. You do not have to search for meaning here. Meaning finds you quietly, through atmosphere, through proportion, through balance. This is a city that respects space. Space between buildings. Space between sounds. Space between moments. And in that space, something inside you begins to breathe more freely. You realize how much of life is spent reacting, rushing, adjusting. Vienna offers a different experience. It offers permission. Permission to pause. Permission to observe. Permission to exist without urgency. The streets feel like long conversations that do not need words. The architecture feels like a memory that does not belong to the past, but to a deeper understanding of harmony. You begin to sense that this city was created not only for people to live in, but for people to feel whole in. Vienna does not push identity onto you. It reflects it back gently, allowing you to recognize parts of yourself that were quiet for too long. This is where elegance is not luxury, but clarity. Where tradition is not weight, but foundation. Where stability does not limit, but protects. As you move through Vienna, you are not collecting impressions. You are releasing tension. You are letting go of unnecessary speed. You are reconnecting with a slower, stronger version of yourself. And slowly, almost without noticing, the city stops being around you, and begins to live within you. Vienna carries a quiet dialogue between discipline and freedom. You feel it in the way the city is structured, yet never feels rigid. Everything has its place, but nothing feels trapped. There is elegance in restraint, and strength in subtlety. Here, control is not about limitation, it is about refinement. The city teaches that true beauty is born from balance, not excess. You begin to sense how carefully Vienna protects its rhythm, as if it understands that chaos is easy, but harmony is rare. The streets unfold like a measured breath, not too fast, not too slow, just enough to remind you that movement can be gentle and powerful at the same time. Vienna does not overwhelm you with impressions. It invites you to absorb, to listen, to notice how silence can be as expressive as sound. Even the air here feels composed, as if it has passed through centuries of intention and respect. You walk and realize that this city is not trying to impress the world. It is trying to remain true to itself. And that authenticity is what makes it magnetic. There is no need for exaggeration. No need for spectacle. Everything meaningful already exists in its natural form. You start to recognize how rare this is in a modern world that constantly demands attention and acceleration. Vienna suggests another way, a way where dignity replaces urgency, where depth replaces noise, where calm replaces pressure. You begin to feel that your own thoughts align with the city's rhythm. The mind becomes quieter, the body becomes lighter, your awareness sharpens, not because of stimulation, but because of clarity. Vienna teaches you that peace is not emptiness. It is fullness without chaos. It is richness without weight. It is presence without effort. In this space, you rediscover the value of patience. Not as waiting, but as trust. Trust in time. Trust in process. Trust in yourself. You understand that some things are not meant to be rushed, not because they are fragile, but because they are profound. The city feels like a guardian of this wisdom, a reminder that the most lasting impressions are often the softest ones. Vienna does not change you by force. It reshapes you gently, through atmosphere, through proportion, through a quiet confidence that never needs to announce itself. And as you continue forward, you begin to realize that this city is not only something you observe. It is something you absorb, something that slowly becomes part of your own internal landscape, steady, composed, and enduring. Vienna holds a deep respect for continuity. It does not erase its past, and it does not chase the future. It carries both with the same calm dignity. You feel it in the way old facades stand beside modern life without conflict, as if time itself has learned to cooperate here. The city reminds you that progress does not require destruction, and tradition does not require stagnation. They can coexist, supporting each other, strengthening each other. As you walk, you sense how carefully Vienna preserves its identity, not out of nostalgia, but out of understanding. It knows that roots give meaning to growth. Without proving anything, without raising its voice, the city shows you that stability is not resistance to change, but wisdom in choosing what is worth keeping. The rhythm of Vienna is like a long, steady heartbeat that has carried generations forward without losing its pulse. You begin to realize how rare it is to find a place that is both alive and composed, both evolving and grounded. This balance creates a feeling of safety that is difficult to describe, a sense that you are supported by something larger than yourself. Here, you are not pressured to define who you are. You are allowed to discover it naturally. The city does not demand speed, productivity, or performance. It offers space. Space to think. Space to feel. Space to remember what it means to be present without expectations. Vienna seems to whisper that life is not a race to be won, but an experience to be understood. As this idea settles within you, your perception shifts. You stop measuring moments by usefulness and start valuing them for their depth. A simple walk becomes meaningful. A pause becomes powerful. Silence becomes nourishing. You sense how much strength there is in calm awareness. The city reflects this back to you in every line of its architecture, in every measured street, in every carefully preserved detail. Vienna does not decorate existence. It clarifies it. It removes the unnecessary, leaving only what truly matters. And in that clarity, something inside you relaxes. You feel less divided, less scattered, more whole. The city becomes a mirror, showing you a version of yourself that is centered, steady, and unhurried. You understand that this is not about escaping reality, but about meeting it with composure. Vienna teaches that dignity is a form of freedom, and calm is a form of strength. As you continue forward, you no longer feel like you are moving through a city. You feel like you are moving through a state of mind note, one that encourages patience, depth, and quiet confidence, one that stays with you long after the streets fade from view. Travel is not only about the places you visit, it is also about the space between them, about how you move from one world to another, and how calm and secure you feel during that transition. Some journeys are small, and some journeys change everything. Our service was created for the second kind. We specialize in long-distance private transfers across the European Union, journeys that truly matter, journeys that connect countries, cultures, and important moments of your life. Based in Warsaw, we connect you with Europe. From any airport in Warsaw, from any point in the city, to Vienna, to Prague, to Berlin, to Budapest, and far beyond. And from anywhere in Europe, we bring you back to Warsaw with the same level of comfort and reliability. This is not a city taxi service. This is not a short ride. This is a private, long-distance travel experience designed for those who move across borders, not across neighborhoods. When the distance is measured in hundreds of kilometers, you need more than transportation, you need trust, you need calm, you need a service that understands scale. That is exactly what we offer at modlandtransfer.com. Spacious cars, professional drivers, clear communication, and a focus on journeys that deserve time and attention. Because real travel begins not when you arrive, but when the road itself feels effortless. If your journey starts in Warsaw and leads you across Europe, or if Europe is guiding you back to Warsaw, visit modlandtransfer.com and let your long-distance travel become as smooth and composed as the destination itself. Vienna carries a quiet elegance that never asks to be noticed, yet is impossible to ignore once you feel it. It moves through the city like a soft current, shaping the way people walk, the way they pause, the way they observe. Here, refinement is not a performance, it is a natural state. You sense it in small details, in the balance of light and shadow, in the harmony between open spaces and intimate corners. The city seems to remind you that beauty does not need to be dramatic to be powerful. It only needs to be honest. As you continue, you feel how Vienna encourages reflection rather than reaction. There is no rush to define, no pressure to respond. Everything unfolds at a pace that allows understanding to grow. You begin to see how rare this is in a world that constantly asks for speed. Vienna offers depth instead. It offers layers of meaning that reveal themselves slowly, through patience and attention. The streets feel like a dialogue between thought and feeling, between history and presence. You are not consuming the city, you are entering into a conversation with it. And in that exchange, something within you becomes calmer, more grounded, more aware. Vienna does not distract you from yourself, it guides you back. You notice how the mind settles, how tension releases, how perception becomes clearer. This is not escape, this is alignment. The city becomes a mirror of inner balance, showing you how strength can be gentle, how stability can be fluid, how control can be compassionate. Each moment feels intentional without being forced. Each view feels composed without being artificial. Vienna does not demand admiration, it earns respect through consistency. And as you move deeper into its rhythm, you realize that this is a city that teaches not through instruction, but through experience. It shapes not your thoughts, but your state of being. You are not learning facts about Vienna, you are absorbing its way of existence. And that is what stays with you long after the journey ends, a sense of quiet confidence, of centered awareness, of elegance that lives not in appearance, but in presence. Vienna teaches you to trust stillness. In a world that constantly pushes forward, this city shows the power of standing calmly in your own center. Here, movement is not about speed, it is about intention. You begin to feel how every step can be deliberate, how every pause can carry meaning. The atmosphere does not pressure you to become someone else. It gently invites you to return to yourself. You notice how your thoughts slow down, not because you force them to, but because the city no longer feeds urgency. Vienna feels like a place where time expands, where moments are not consumed, but experienced. The air seems to hold a quiet intelligence, as if it understands that life is not measured by how much you do, but by how deeply you are present. You walk and realize that there is no need to hurry toward the future when the present already feels complete. The architecture around you reflects this truth. Strong, balanced, composed, it stands without anxiety, without the need to prove relevance. It simply remains, and in that remaining, it offers stability. You sense how rare it is to encounter a place that does not chase trends, that does not redefine itself every moment to be seen. Vienna trusts its essence. It knows that authenticity does not fade. It deepens. As you absorb this, something shifts in you. You start to question how often you rush through your own life, how often you overlook the quiet strength of consistency. Vienna suggests another way, a way where patience becomes power, where calm becomes clarity, where silence becomes guidance. The city does not overwhelm your senses, it refines them. It sharpens your ability to feel subtlety, to recognize beauty in restraint, to appreciate what does not demand attention. You begin to understand that presence is a form of luxury, and awareness is a form of wealth. Vienna offers both without asking anything in return. It simply creates the conditions for you to rediscover them within yourself. And as you continue forward, the city feels less like a destination and more like a reminder. A reminder that life does not need to be loud to be meaningful. That strength does not need to be rigid to be reliable. That balance does not need to be perfect to be real. In this space, you are not escaping the world. You are learning how to meet it with steadiness, with depth, and with a quiet confidence that grows from within. Vienna holds a unique relationship with silence. Not as absence, but as presence. A living space where thoughts can settle and emotions can find clarity. You begin to notice how silence here is not empty, it is full. Full of awareness, full of meaning, full of quiet communication between the city and those who walk through it. In this space, you are not overwhelmed by information. You are guided by sensation. The city speaks through rhythm, through proportion, through harmony that does not demand explanation. You feel how your perception becomes more refined, how your attention shifts from the external noise of the world to the subtle movements within yourself. Vienna creates a dialogue between what you see and what you feel. It reminds you that understanding is not always intellectual. Sometimes it is emotional. Sometimes it is intuitive. Sometimes it is simply a state of calm recognition. You walk and realize that the city is not trying to show you something new. It is helping you remember something old. A deeper connection to patience, to balance, to inner coherence. The streets feel like pathways not only through space, but through awareness. Each step becomes an invitation to slow your thoughts and open your senses. You understand that Vienna does not decorate reality. It clarifies it. It removes unnecessary layers, leaving only what feels authentic and grounded. This clarity creates a sense of freedom that is quiet but powerful. Freedom from constant reaction. Freedom from urgency. Freedom from the need to perform. The city offers you a space where you can simply exist without definition or expectation. You feel how tension dissolves when there is no pressure to become anything else. Vienna holds you in a state of acceptance. It does not judge your pace. It does not demand change. It allows transformation to happen naturally, gently, without force. You realize that this is one of the rarest experiences in modern life. A place that does not push you forward, but invites you inward. And in that inward movement, you find stability, depth, and a sense of alignment that feels both calming and empowering. Vienna becomes less of a location and more of an atmosphere that you carry within yourself. A reminder that peace is not something you find. It is something you allow. Vienna feels like a place where time has learned to move differently. Not in straight lines, not in urgency, but in circles of meaning. You sense how moments here are not lost, they are layered. Each experience adds depth rather than replacing what came before. The city carries memory not as weight, but as richness. It allows you to feel connected to something larger than a single moment or a single lifetime. As you walk, you realize that Vienna does not separate past, present, and future. It weaves them into one continuous presence. This creates a rare sense of stability, a feeling that nothing is truly rushed or abandoned. Everything is respected. Everything is allowed its time. You begin to notice how this affects you. Your thoughts become less fragmented. Your emotions become more grounded. You stop needing constant stimulation because the atmosphere itself feels complete. Vienna does not ask you to fill silence. It teaches you to trust it. In that trust, you find clarity. The city becomes a reminder that depth comes from patience, and meaning grows from continuity. You sense how carefully this place holds its identity, not through control, but through care. Every detail feels intentional without feeling forced. Every space feels open without feeling empty. This balance creates an environment where you naturally slow down, where you stop measuring life by outcomes and start experiencing it by presence. Vienna encourages you to live horizontally instead of vertically. Not higher, not faster, but wider and deeper. You begin to understand that fulfillment is not found in acceleration, but in attention. The city does not push you toward achievement. It guides you toward awareness. And in that awareness, you rediscover a softer strength. A strength that does not compete. A strength that does not dominate. A strength that simply exists. Vienna teaches that stability can be gentle and power can be calm. As you absorb this, the city stops being a place you visit and becomes a state you carry. A reminder that harmony is not something you search for outside. It is something you allow to grow within. When journeys stretch across countries, what matters most is not speed, but certainty. The certainty that everything is handled, that every detail is already in place, and that you can simply stay present while the road unfolds. That is exactly what our service is built for. At ModlenTransfer.com, we focus on long-distance private transfers across Europe, connecting cities, not neighborhoods. From Warsaw to Vienna, Prague, Berlin, Budapest and beyond, and from anywhere in Europe back to Warsaw, with the same calm precision. This is not about short rides. It is about real distance, real responsibility, and real trust. Professional drivers, clear planning, and a quiet confidence that allows your journey to feel effortless from start to finish. When movement becomes simple, the road itself becomes part of your balance. All details are available at ModlenTransfer.com, with the link in the description. Vienna stays with you not because of what you saw, but because of what you felt while being here. It does not leave as an image, it remains as a state. A reminder that life does not need to rush to be meaningful, that strength does not need to be loud to be real, and that balance does not need perfection to exist. This city teaches you that calm is not the absence of movement, but the presence of clarity. That harmony is not something you find in the world, but something you allow to grow within yourself. As your journey comes to an end, you realize that Vienna has quietly shifted the way you look at time, at space, and at your own inner rhythm. It has shown you that dignity can be gentle, that confidence can be silent, and that depth can live in simplicity. You leave not with a list of places, but with a feeling of alignment. A sense that you do not need to chase, compare, or hurry. That you can move forward with steadiness, with patience, and with trust in your own pace. Vienna does not ask you to remember it. It becomes part of the way you breathe, the way you walk, the way you pause. And wherever you go next, a piece of this calm will go with you, reminding you that true elegance lives not in appearance, but in presence, not in motion, but in awareness, and not in destinations, but in the way you experience the path between them.